back with another video. Today we're gonna be reviewing 2020 Veloster N. So first things first, it comes with 19-inch wheels. What's the width and tire size? 9.5, I believe, 235, 35. It's the performance blue. Stock, these comes with Pirellis. Pirelli P0s. So we're in the car. I'm in the driver's seat. The passenger is actually the owner. So first thing, the interior. These seats are actually really comfortable. I know a lot of other review videos for these cars, they always complaining about the interior, but that's not why you buy this car. You buy this car for the performance, honestly. It has this giant screen. It's an 8-inch screen. The dash is super cool. It has ends all over it. It has your tire pressure. There's multiple different settings. It shows your oil gauge, torque, turbo, fuel economy, and you have your settings. On the steering wheel, it has your different drive modes and then your N mode. All right, let's start driving. So we're gonna be starting Eco. The Eco mode doesn't have rev matching apparently, so I'm gonna have to do that manually myself. So initial impression, the ride is really smooth. Right now we're actually going over some bumpy roads. There's like rocks and stuff everywhere, so let's see how we do. The steering feeling is actually really light. I believe it's electronic steering, right?
Yeah.
Let's take a few turns and see how that feels. So this car does have active suspension. So the dampeners will stiffen up when you change the modes. So right now we have it set to Eco, so it's the most comfortable. And like I said, it's very comfortable. We're gonna be taking our first turn real quick. There's not a lot of body roll too. Right now we have the exhaust on the quiet mode, so you're not gonna hear much. After this light right here, I'm gonna put it into the sport. Right now I'm gonna do a full watt pull on Eco mode to see how that feels. See if there's any power, if you notice a difference between Eco and Sport. First pull. Alright, we went just until the speed limit right there. Of course, there's no speeding in this video. And this is something I didn't notice. It has a shift indicator. The GT350 has that as well, and it's cool to see that this has it too. Alright, now we're gonna change it into the normal mode. So actually right away, I did feel the suspension stiffen up a little bit. I'm feeling bumps a little harder.
Rev matching for normal.
And in normal mode, there's rev matching. And it's just a button on the steering wheel that you click. And then we're gonna do a pull in normal mode to see the difference between Eco and normal. There also seems to be less body roll too. We haven't done many turns, but I can tell you immediately. And there's also a custom setting for your dampeners and your exhaust and all that, so you can have it just to the spec that you want it. I'm used to rev matching on my own, even though it doesn't.
Doesn't your car do it too?
No, mine doesn't. So that's one thing for the N owners, you can have that on top of us. So, nice. Just do a quick little pull. Oh, immediately. Oh, that feels way better. Guys, if you have this car, don't drive it on eco. That was so much quicker. Let's go quick right here into a turn. The handling is amazing. It feels so planted and stiff. Stop sign coming up.
That's not for us.
Oh, that's not for us. Okay. And this is a 6-speed manual, just as an enthusiast wants it. The shifter actually feels nice and heavy. It's actually really short, so when you're banging through gears, you know, you don't waste as much time as a normal car. I think it's actually a little bit shorter than mine on the 350. Alright, let's see how the turn radius is. I'm gonna just pull a U-turn right here.
Right here.
Actually, I'm not sure.
Turn radius.
According to the owner, the turn radius is not very good. Can I make it here? Whoa, he's right. The turn radius was not very good.
I think it's just because it's from.
We actually have yet to feel any torque steer. So right now we're gonna put it in N mode.
It's maxed out.
This is N maxed out, so the dampening is as stiff as possible. There should be less body roll, and it should be as quick as it can be. The exhaust is loud. I don't know if you can hear that.
Torque steer right here.
Let's go. Ooh, this car is fast. That was the 60 right there. Yeah, the 350 might have more horsepower, but that does not mean this car isn't fun. 275 horses. So the standard N, it comes with 250 horsepower, and what was it?
275 for the performance pack.
And 275 for the performance pack. How much torque does it come with?
260
260.
pound-feet. My bad. Yeah, more gauges.
And that's just from putting it into N mode?
Yeah, that's N mode.
So when you put it into N mode, you get more gauges on the big screen.
Well, you can have them whenever you want. It's just right here. This is where you get all your customization. So in custom, you can do your engine, which is just your throttle response, rev matching, your LSD. If you want it more in a sports setting, your exhaust sound. You could stiffen up the suspension, the steering, and N mode. You could set it to normal or just Sport Plus. And then what the steering does, it just gets a little heavier, so you feel a little more connected to the road. And then your electronic stability control. So all that you can control by just a click of the button.
By the click of a button, exactly. And immediately, as soon as I put it in the N mode, I did feel like the steering was a little bit heavier. The chassis stiffened up even more. Going through hard turn, it did feel a lot more flat. So the 0 to 60 time for these cars are 5.5. Quarter mile is 14.2 at 100 miles per hour. Obviously, it varies from driver to driver. The top speed for this car is 155, but there are people who reached 160, which is crazy for this little car. 275 horsepower, and this car weighs what, 3,200 pounds? 3,100 pounds. And And there does seem to be a lot of aftermarket support, and it seems to be growing too. So what are some common mods that people do to these cars?
So common mods, just basic.
Before that, I'm gonna do a pole going on the highway. And end mode, let's go. Whoa! Hey, you don't need a lot of horsepower when the car is light. Power to weight ratio is the most important of all things. Alright, you were saying? So common mods.
Okay, so usually people like to run intakes on this because as soon as you get an intake, you get a flutter sound. You get that turbo flutter. Yeah, basically. And then some people do exhaust, some people don't. The exhaust is pretty loud already, stock. And
the car crackles and pops from the factory. Like most cars, you have to buy an exhaust, something expensive, something like $1,000 plus just to get the car to do that. So it's really nice that this car is like ready to go straight from the factory.
Yeah, and then just your minor bolt-ons. I've seen a lot of people run like HKS blow-off valves, and they sound hella clean, stupid clean. Or some people get like bypass valves and all that. And then after that, people start doing intercoolers, and they have this turbo upgrade. Sixth Element does this turbo upgrade. It's called a pure turbo upgrade, and you just gotta send in your factory turbo, and they bore it out, and they do a couple things to it.
Ooh, you guys heard that pop?
And yeah, minor mods. There's the Veloster ends in Puerto Rico. Pushing power tough.
What's the most that you've seen?
I've seen upwards of 500. I think
500 horsepower?
Yeah.
And is that on the stock block?
I think it was on the stock block. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some more research on that.
500 on the stock block. If that's on the stock block, that's ridiculous. This is a sleeper here.
But yeah, stock for stock, you're beating STIs. You're beating Evos, you're beating WRXs. I've beaten GTIs in this. The Focus RS, yeah, those are gonna gap this 100%. I had a homie with a stock Focus RS, and he gapped the fuck out of me, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even fair. But they got almost 100 torque and 100 horsepower on top. And they're all-wheel drive, so. But in terms of pricing, shit, it's better than a Type R.
That might be facts. I have yet to drive a Type R,
but I haven't driven a Type R, so I couldn't say. But in terms of price, I think it goes head-to-head with those Honda boys, to be honest with you. But that might be controversial, but I don't care.
So do you regret your purchase? You've had the car for about a year now. It's been about, 10,000 miles?
No, 100% not. Because, look, so I had an NB Miata before this, and it was on coilovers, I had a stiffer sway bars, stiffer bushings.
Some headers, intake.
Headers, intake, it didn't have power, but when it came to cornering, it stuck and it handled really good. I chose this because for me, handling is a really important thing for me. And this thing takes curves like nothing. Like there's no torque steer. So from a Miata to this, in terms of handling, honestly, it's
worth
best bang for your buck. I've seen Type R's crash, but
So the big question, as a GT350 owner, would I buy one of these cars? I know he's nervous. And honestly, absolutely, I would love to own this car. And I've told a few of my buddies before when I've gone out doing some spirited driving. I told him straight up, like, if I had the money to own the 350 and this car, I would absolutely would. It's just two different kind of things. Both the cars are made for the track. Both are like super amazing right out the factory. Well, obviously one's a 4-cylinder turbo, one's a giant V8, naturally aspirated. As far as how this car delivers the power, it's power all at one time, obviously, like a turbo is gonna be, and it's just so fun. There's no way to describe the feeling of a turbo when it kicks in, but it just throws you back in your seat. You feel like you're like hit nitrous or something. And it's honestly amazing. I mean, it handles probably better than the GT350. If I were to, you know, like carve some canyon roads, I think this would do better. But as far as putting them on the track head to head, in that aspect, I think the 350 takes it, just because it is a lot more powerful, and a lot of tracks have more linear, like straightaways. Whereas those tight corners, this is where it's gonna shine.
Just one thing, if you're looking for a hot hatch, you know, I mean, obviously the STs and the Fiestas, they don't make them anymore. If you're looking at the Type R, you know, or the GTI or the Focus ST and the Fiesta STs, you definitely want to consider this too, just because it's under 30K, and honestly, it's a hell of a car. You know, the Type R is a little more expensive, but the Type R does have a lot more luxuries. Honestly, the Type R's interior is very, very immaculate. I think the interior in the Type R is clean. I wish this came with the Recaros though, but it does have more bolstering if you get like a 2021. But yeah, I mean, it goes head to head with the Type R in my opinion. The Type R has its advantages, and so does this, but you make your own assessment. I think it's a dope ass car.
And that's from the owner. So I think that's actually going to be it for the video. If you want to see more car content, more car reviews, hit the like button, drop a comment in the bottom. Let me know, would you rather take the 350 or the N, or if you could take both, hit the subscribe button. That's it.